This is the K95.3 Sports Show podcast, brought to you by the Fan Zone in Wilmer's Candy Mall.
Welcome to the K95.3 Sports Show podcast. My name is Beau. I am your host. As usual, if you like what you hear, please hit the subscribe button. And if you're on your cell phone, hit the bell button next to that. And you'll get notifications each Wednesday when I release the new episode. Also, thank you to the Fan Zone for sponsoring the sports show. Appreciate you guys doing that. And please get into the Candy Mall here in Wilmer and buy some sports memorabilia from them. Also, last week for the Gopher ticket giveaway, I gave away the last word of the 4. So if you missed any of the previous 4 episodes and you would like a chance to go to a Gopher basketball game against Indiana on February 16th for free, all it costs is you to listen to the previous 4 episodes and write down the one word that I give for each episode. So there's a total of 4 words. Get those 4 words. Email me at k953sportsshow@gmail.com. That's k953sportsshow@gmail.com. Also, I'm still looking for Minnesota Wild and Minnesota Timberwolves super fans to come in here and talk about their love for their teams and what is going on with them. I'm a casual watcher of those, so I need somebody who's a little more dialed in. So if you are that person, or if you know somebody who is that person, please email me also at k953sportsshow@gmail.com. The Viking season ain't going to last forever, so I'm going to have to start eventually talking about the other major sports. So so let's get that started, and please email me if you know anybody. Also, email me your Mount Rushmore of Vikings players. If you want a chance to be on the show and just want to talk Vikings, email me your Mount Rushmore of Vikings players, and I will try to get you in here to talk sports with me. But let's go ahead and get to our guests. We got Jeremy Goulet, our office manager, has stepped in again here for us. How are you doing tonight, Jeremy?
Good, and yourself?
Hey, can't complain. Just excited for the Packer win, beating up on the Packers, and excited to talk about it. And we've got a newbie this week. It's Brett Jensen. He is cousins with Jeremy, and I've known Brett now for a few years through Jeremy, and he's been waiting to get on the show. I want to first start off by thanking you, Brett, because you share the podcast at least once, if not multiple times each week on your Facebook, and I appreciate that. So welcome to your first podcast.
Thanks, Paul. Happy to be here.
Awesome, man. Well, let's get into the fray here. As usual, obviously when we have a bad week, I always say we start with a good thing, and so obviously if we have a good week, it's easy to start with a good thing. So let's jump right into it. Let's talk MVP. I have for me Cousins as my MVP. I mean, is there any objection from you two at all?
No,
that
I think you have to give it to him.
Nope, he was on fire last night.
Yeah,
or Sunday night.
Yeah. It was good to see him going, and what I liked. This is what I liked the most about the game from Cousins on Sunday night. You could so tell that the previous week that the head coach, I'm sure Zimmer did, I'm sure Flippo did, I'm sure the quarterback's coach, they're like, run the ball if there's nobody in front of you for 5 yards, and we need 3 yards for a first down.
Yep.
And I was so happy to see that, because he is actually pretty athletic, and he has several rushing touchdowns over the last several years, and not the 1 yard dive in type. So I'm so happy to see that, and see that he was moving around the pocket. That touchdown to Thielen, if it wasn't for his running ability earlier in the game, the threat of that cornerback wouldn't have came off Thielen and went after him for the tackle. So that boom, touchdown. The rest is history. So let's what are your guys' thoughts on the on Kirk Cousins' game? Go ahead, Brett. Let me hear your thoughts.
Well, he had time to throw the ball.
That was a huge thing.
Mike Daniels not being in there for the Packers, that nose tackle. He always seems to disrupt us when he plays against us, but he wasn't there. Line protected very well. Gave him Cousins plenty of time to throw the ball. And you can see what Cousins does when he has time. He just picks you apart. Yep. Very accurate. And he did rush the ball a little bit. It's good to see that. He was perfect. He scrambled down that right side. That guy came up. Thielen was wide open. Boom, touchdown. Thielen made a pretty good run to get in.
Yes.
Bumped a few times to get in there, but yeah, that's what you paid him to do to get here. He did that, and 343 yards, 3 touchdowns. I mean, he was on fire. I mean, he totally outplayed Rodgers. So it was good to see Cousins get back, because last week, before that against the Bears, a little shaky.
Yep.
You know, some of that people were kind of criticizing him and all that, but this was perfect game. Come back, destroy the Packers. Unbelievable. It's good to see.
Yes. Yeah, and yeah, there's still a lot of we've on my thread for Minnesota Vikings or the MN Viking fan page on Facebook. I have there's a couple of people on there that were talking about Cousins. Of course, here I'm trying to hold in a sneeze. All right. So they're so they're talking about the couple people on the fan page. Just once again, they bring up Case again, and they're like, "Oh, I don't like Cousins. He's not worth the money. He's not this. He's not that." And I put on there. I'm sorry if you don't see that Cousins is a better quarterback than Case Keenum. Then
easy.
That's night and day.
Yeah. Then I can't listen to any of your other football takes.
Right.
Because if you're that wrong on that.
Yeah.
What are some of their arguments is the money wise,
right?
But unfortunately, that's just the way the NFL is now. It's whoever the newest franchise quarterback is the new highest paid quarterback.
Yep, exactly.
That's the way it is. So I mean, even Kirk Cousins, he lasted for like a little while, and then Aaron Rodgers and Matt Ryan overtook him. So he's now third in the league for it.
Right.
Some of the people right behind him, only $500,000 less. Jimmy Garoppolo. Guy who's done nothing and then barely played at all this year.
Right.
Injury.
Yeah. Waste of money there. Matt Stafford only making $1 million less. Matt Stafford.
I mean, he hasn't won a playoff game either.
Yeah. I feel like not only with the Lions, but he peaked several years ago, and I think he's on his downturn, and
yeah.
There might only be a few games left for him. Derek Carr. He hasn't looked the best. He's making 25.
No.
That's been brutal.
You got Drew Brees at $25 million. That was a home team discount.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, if he wanted, he could have easily got well over $30 million. Andrew Luck, Alex Smith, who's probably career's over. Joe Flacco, who's up and up, off and on, and not more off than on. Then you got Russell Wilson, Ben Roethlisberger, Eli Manning, so on and so forth. The point is that that's just the way the NFL is. The next free agent will be the new highest paid over Aaron Rodgers, and so on and so forth. So you can complain about the money all you want, but it was going to happen. We weren't going to sign Case. I think the change in offensive coordinator made a big difference too on keeping him. And Cousins is just way more talented, a high ceiling. Jeremy, your thoughts?
I would agree. Finally watching that game, it was nice enough just because it was against the Packers, but it was awesome also just because it's almost like you got to kind of finally see Cousins let loose on a few things. I mean, that pass that he threaded to Thielen, I mean, he was basically wearing two Packers. I was like, how did he catch that? And I would only give that guy enough credit to try to make that pass. Mm-hmm. Anybody else would be like,
Case would have never thrown it.
No. And something else, we talked about that he had started to kind of rush out a little bit. That definitely was good. Also, I really like to see that he started to use Rudolph this week more a little bit because
he disappeared.
He had in bringing Diggs in, using Thielen a little more, and then if you start using that, I mean, because I'm sorry, but Rudolph, he is an abusive tight end. I mean, when he'll catch it, but he's going to pop you if you're going to. I mean, it's almost like I'd be nervous to tackle him.
Yep.
So I mean, I think if you can spread that around a little bit more now. Fingers crossed, Dalvin Cook, if he is healthy, and I know from the line he hasn't been doing much, but some of his screen passes, I mean, man, when he gets going, you're not catching him.
He's explosive.
I mean, and if you keep using Murray for just pounding the ball, here we go.
Let's jump to Cook for a quick second. Cook, it's almost like he's a guaranteed 2 to 3 broken tackles every time he touches the ball.
He breaks tackles.
How is he so damn slippery?
I don't know.
It is crazy. I mean, literally, maybe 10% of the time the first guy takes him down, and he's not. Rare. It's just that's what we missed. That's what we missed from him is that guy who can take the screen, and what most running backs would get down after 2-3 yards. He's able to break tackles and get the first down. He did that several times.
Yeah.
Well, that when he scored on that screen pass. It looked like he was moving. Everybody else was in slow motion, and he was just in a different speed. When he scored there, it was just boom to the end zone. Everybody else was just kind of – it looked like they're in slow motion when he scored.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the explosiveness he brings. I mean, it's fun to watch.
Yeah, it is. It is great to have him back and healthy. But, back to Cousins. I think we're going to see more and more. And once again, the line has a big difference, too. the people who are complaining about his performances this year, once again, is it Cousins or is it the offensive line and maybe a sprinkle of Cousins? That's what I'm leaning towards, is the offensive line and maybe a sprinkle of Cousins. But if he has time, as we saw, he can drop dimes all over the field. Something, once again, Case could not do. There's passes every week where I say that is a pass that Case could not make or even attempt. And that's why Cousins is a better quarterback, and that's why paying the extra $10 million for a quarterback like that is worth it in the long run.
Right.
And the leadership and just everything else. I know these people are going to eat their words eventually with the Kirk Cousins thing. Hopefully they got some salt and pepper to put on there so it tastes a little better.
With that Kirk Cousins stuff, I mean, for the last, better part of 2 decades, we've just been that team where we just keep putting Band-Aids on at QB.
Yep,
I mean,
exactly.
Finally, let's settle up and be like, okay, we're going to pay the money and we're going to have somebody here who's durable, we know can play, and ride it out. It gets sick. I mean, you just keep trying to, fix it with these little Band-Aids, and it's like, and I mean, obviously, Case last year, I mean, nothing against the guy. He obviously had, an MVP season. I mean, the guy was really good, but there's also sometimes you get those teams that have just those weird year of chemistry, and now you look what he's doing in Denver. He hasn't had a horrible year there either, but he's not nearly making the passes.
No,
I expected him and Emmanuel Sanders to just have a huge season together. They're not doing bad together, but they're not he's having nowhere near the season he had with Thielen. Not anywhere close.
Well,
so
the thing is, Kirk Cousins, a quarterback like that, doesn't come on the market at all, ever. Never happens.
Yep.
And if he didn't, we probably would have signed Keenum back.
Mm-hmm.
But Cousins came on the market, clearly a better quarterback. You go after the better quarterback. And if he wasn't, we probably would have signed Keenum. But that's just how it worked out. It's a rare opportunity to get a good quarterback like that. They did it. And you go with Cousins. It's easy to tell he's a better quarterback. I mean, you spend the money. You got to spend money to get these good quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the market.
Yep.
I mean, people are mad about the money, but that's if you want good players, you got to pay them. And you Cousins every time over Keenum. I'm sorry, but that's just how it is. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's and since we've had an inability to draft and make a quarterback from that way, we had to go outside the organization.
Right.
Yep. And like you said, those types of quarterbacks do not show up and very often. But like I said, the O-line was great on Sunday night, and it gave him those times. So, once again, was that because Daniels wasn't there to rush up the middle? Or were they just on because we're at home and we're going against the Packers? I don't know. They're just such a Jekyll and Hyde team. It's, I comment a lot. I feel we're missing Sperano really much.
Yeah, that was a big loss.
That was a big loss, because
especially the timing, right? At training camp there.
Yep. Yeah. And right now I think it's just his 2 assistants, so they're like double teaming it.
Right.
Hopefully we're looking at offensive line coaches in the off season.
Yeah.
I feel bad for the other 2, but they haven't. I don't feel like they stepped up. Coaching makes such a huge difference in the NFL. I think out of the 4 major sports, coaching makes the biggest difference in the NFL. And maybe if we had a Sperano around and we had a solid line coach, we could not eliminate the problem, but just a better version of it.
Yep. And Sperano, he was a top offensive line coach in the league.
Yep.
He was one of the best, and you lose him right at that time, it's going to affect your line a little bit,
Yep. No, I agree. So let's switch on over to the defense side. Richardson showed up big time over the weekend, which is great to see. Up to like 3.5 sacks now, because he had 2 on Sunday. And those were some great plays, and that really stymied the Packers and stopped them from it. Because once again, they were both 3rd down sacks. It was 3rd and long already, and we're, what was it, 20%? 20% conversion rate over that. And so it's like, probably a small chance, but still, he put the nail in the coffin. He didn't give Rodgers a chance to get out of the pocket and do what he does well and look down the field and make his choices. So, the Richardson and just the D-line as a whole was great on there. So, what do you, Brett, what do you think? Do you think we'll take a look at Richardson in the offseason again? It's a 1-year deal, making $11 million this year. So, he's going to, if he has a good season, he's going to want more.
Right. I hope we keep him, but the thing is, in his past, Richardson, he's gotten into some trouble, and And it's like if you give him that big long-term contract, does he get a little lazy on you? I don't think Zimmer would ever allow that to happen, but I worry about that. But I hope we sign him. I mean, he's clearly a disruptive player. I mean, he can rush the passer like with any D tackle in the league. He's right up there. I mean, not Aaron Donald, stuff like that, but he's up there towards the top. And I hope we sign him. But the thing is, we're close to that cap. It's like, how do we fit him in there? But we got some of the best at. I can't remember the guy's name. Brzezinski. He's very good at that, and he can probably find a way. But if you sign Richardson, you're probably going to lose a guy like Trey Waynes. I just think you never hear extension talk with Waynes, and he's on his contract year. But I hope we sign Richardson. I mean, put him next to Linville Joseph and Hunter and nice. Griffin.
Yeah,
I mean, that's one of the best D-lines in the league.
Well, I did see that today the Vikes put Sendejo on the IR.
Yep.
They did.
Yep. So that essentially is probably he's done. He's signed through next year, but we get 0 cap penalty if we release him.
Okay.
And as with the depth at our safety position, he's gone.
Yeah.
So that's saving a little over $5 million right there.
That helps
on him. Of course, going back and restructuring some things. Would Everson Griffin look into restructuring a little bit? I don't know who else is free agent. We'll take a look at that later on, or when the off season starts. But that. Barr also. I think Barr's gone.
Yeah, I know. I thought if they got him signed before the year, big time, and if they didn't, it's going to be tough to get him signed. And I don't think it's going to happen either. I hope so. Barr's a playmaker. I mean, on the defensive side of the ball, he's very good, and I hope we keep him. But when they didn't get him signed before the season started, I'm like, oh boy, he might be gone.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think he might be. Speaking of the defense again, we had the rough start to the defense in the beginning of the year where we were just getting pummeled, and our defense was leaving guys wide open by 20 yards and just horrible. But since then, when I calmed everybody down on the show here and told everybody take a breath, trust in Zim.
Right.
He has shown why I said that and why it was so important, because now the defense is 3rd in yards, 4th in rushing, 5th in passing, 10th in points. So we're a little less than what we're a little worse than what we were last year, but that was probably because of all the stuff we put up in the first month against us. So We've been coming back all year, and we're back to being an elite defense, and that's, once again, in Zim we trust. I knew he could turn it around. He just needed to see that. Oh crap! I need to do something a little different. Your thoughts on the defense, Jeremy?
Well, and I mean, I hate to say it this way, but we are starting to tighten back up. But I also can kind of say that the defense can lax a little bit, maybe more now too, if the offense starts to fire better. I mean, if we're starting, we have the elite quarterback, we have the stuff that we need. Not obviously that we don't want to lose a step on defense. We want to keep that eliteness of it, but we're not depending as much on our defense now to help us win the games as maybe we were last year. So, I mean, I think I really have every week I've thought that the defense have gotten better. Even in that the Bears game, I didn't think that they were horrible.
Yeah, 17 points.
It was just that we just couldn't get anything going on offense, and I'm sorry, the Bears defense is just good.
Yeah, the defensive line was just stellar.
Yeah, I mean, and so, I guess for me, like I said, I'm almost willing to give up a little bit of that defense, knowing that we've got Cousins and our offense that we've got right now.
Yeah. So. No, I agree. We're I would argue one of the most complete teams on both sides of the ball.
I'd say
in the NFL, for sure. So that's kind of the Green Bay game. Did you guys have any final thoughts? Is there something that I didn't put on the itinerary or anything you wanted to talk about, other than what we had about the game? I mean, it was let's talk about one thing. How nice is it to probably have put the final nail in the coffin for the Packers' playoff hopes this year?
It's great. Best thing ever.
Pretty good.
I mean, just seeing
the amount of years they've done that to us.
Yep.
Just seeing Rodgers over there just pouting most of the second half, not with this stupid little smirk on his face. I talked about last week me wanting to knock that smirk off his face. The Vikings did it for me this week.
Yeah, they did. Yep.
So that was so nice. I mean, we talked last week too. There's no way McCarthy's back at the end of the season.
No. I can't see how he would be.
What I think is funny, though, every time the Packers win, it's like Rodgers is the greatest, best quarterback ever. But whenever they lose, we got to get rid of McCarthy. McCarthy sucks. Got to get rid of him. Like, it just seems like every time they lose, McCarthy. Every time they win, Rodgers.
Yeah.
Does that not sound like a recurring deal, though, in Green Bay? I remember when they used to do that with Favre, too, constantly. Yeah. Oh, my God, Favre, he's the greatest quarterback ever. He won, and that receiver caught that pass because Brett Favre told him last week he could catch that pass.
Yeah, right.
And as soon as they lose, it was I can't even remember what his coach was over there now.
Holmgren.
Yeah,
right.
I was like, I could see his face, but I couldn't remember his name. But, yeah, so, I mean, that's one of those
funny.
deals. But, well, and I'm not going to lie, I was a little worried about Green Bay when the season started, the way they came out and they came back in that game against the Bears. That was like, oh, man. And, I mean, because I literally, when they
That's when they
went
peaked.
when
they peaked.
Well, when they went to
Pretty
halftime,
much, yeah.
I thought Rodgers was probably out for 2 months the way his knee had went. And,
Probably should have.
Yeah, so
So it's nice to finish them off. Pretty much. I mean, they need a miracle to make the playoffs.
Yeah,
they got to win out.
They were talking about that last night.
They have to
Monday
win
Night
out,
Football.
and then they
win
need so
out.
much help. So,
Yep.
so that'll be nice. Let's go ahead and look at next week's game or this weekend's game against the Patriots. This game, been staring at it all year. Knew it was coming.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't expect us to win. What I want to see is I want to get out of that game with a respectable game.
Right.
Not our offense crap in the bed, not our defense crap in the bed. I just want them to go out there. I want just a normal back and forth game, where we lose by 3, maybe 4, 5, 6, 7, but it could have been anybody's game. Mm-hmm. I don't want it where we've out yardaged them by double. They have like 2 turnover, but we have like 3, 4 turnovers, and we can't. I don't want that kind of a game. I don't want a mess of a game. So for me, what will need to happen for the Vikes to win is just to play mistake-free football, and play their game like we can. Run when we can. But if we're forced to pass, I have no problem with that with Cousins, and just play defense. It's going to hurt with Rhodes. Zimmer said it's still very minor, but any type of a hamstring, it's tough to come back the week later.
Week right after, yeah.
Unless it was just a really bad cramp. That's what I thought at first, was just a cramp. The way he grabbed it at the end, I was just kind of like, because he didn't look like he landed weird. So, and then the way he was walking, I was like, oh, maybe it's a cramp. So we'll see what happens, but I think what might be the difference in the game, and what might really push it over the Patriots side. Brett, your thoughts on what the Vikings need to do to win?
Well, if Rhodes doesn't play, Tom Brady's going to go after whoever his replacement is, probably Hill.
Hill, yeah.
Okay, so he's going to go after Hill.
Just like Rodgers did right after he left.
Right after, yep. But yeah, cannot turn the ball over. Cannot turn the ball over. If we turn the ball over, it might get ugly, and might get ugly fast. But if we can somehow play a clean game, don't turn the ball over, we're going to be in it to the end. Defense is going to keep us in it. I really think we just don't turn the ball over, because our turnovers we've had in these past games against these good teams, they score. They turn over right to points right away, and it just really puts us behind the 8 ball. But I'm just terrified of Tom Brady, the Patriots. It's going to be tough to go up there in Foxborough and get a win, but just don't turn the ball over. You stay in the game. You never know. You might get an upset. You might win a game that you're not supposed to one time. We haven't done that all year yet. I mean, we beat some kind of mediocre teams this year. So it'd be great to go in there and get a win.
Statement game.
Right. It'd be a statement game.
If we show up in New England and beat them, then people are going to once again, I don't like it, because I don't like when people talk good about us, the national media.
Right.
But they'll be forced to talk about us again.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
And be like, holy cow, beat up the Packers pretty easily, and now look what they did here. So, yeah, I agree. Anything you want to add to that, Jeremy?
Yeah, I think a big deal, and I've said this for multiple weeks when I've been on here with you, such a key thing for us is turnovers. If we can get takeaways, I mean, that's huge.
Yep.
I mean, the more time you can keep the ball out of Tom Brady's hands, the better off you're going to be.
Yep.
Another big part of Tom Brady is you have to prevent the big plays and the third and longs. What they're known for. They're known for those. All of a sudden, boom, we're right back in this game, and then it's like and I know we haven't really had any of these, like an upset game that we played this year, but I was really impressed, and I still kind of think that we should have won that Rams game. Like I said, there was a little bit of officiating there that kind of went bad. We had that where
Still, our defense was still doing their thing. That was the game that Barr just got manhandled.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. But I mean, we were running right with them, and like I said, Thielen got called down on no contact. They just called him down, and I mean and then we didn't get a touchdown out of that.
So I mean,
and then if I remember right, there was a holding or something there where they had it was a 3rd and 18 or something. They picked it up and there was a blatantly missed call.
Yeah,
and those are momentum killers. And hey, Tennessee. I mean. Look what they
have a stout defense and a worse offense than us.
Yep.
It was at Tennessee.
Exactly, but nobody saw it coming.
Nope. And to be honest, Tom Brady isn't having the best of years either. He's 19 touchdowns, 7 interceptions.
Yeah, that's not Tom Brady there.
Yeah, 96 rating. I mean, he hasn't been the last 3 years. He's been over 100. But yeah, the 7 interceptions and only 19 touchdowns, just a little over 3,000 yards. That's nothing. That's nothing great. I mean, compare that with what Cousins is doing with 22 touchdowns, same amount of interceptions, but he's got a little over 200 more yards. So, I mean, they're playing pretty similar. I mean, a lot of that has to do with New England, I think, just getting up early on teams and then them just kind of handing it off to Sony Michel when he's healthy and stuff too. And so, that's another thing. They got a running game now. New England's got a running game. I know Sony left the last game with his back, but he came.
Back? Yeah, they bent him over backwards, but I think he was back in by the end. But they did because they showed the replay and they really twisted him around pretty good. But he was back by the end again.
Okay.
But I think they still have White as healthy, isn't he? So I mean, they've still got plenty of capable backs.
Yeah, there's not even a designation on him right now yet.
Okay.
Compared to other players that might have a questionable or whatever else. There's nothing on him right now for Sony Michel. But that'll be a difference. So that's what I think needs to happen for the Patriots to win. For the Patriots to win, they need to have an even game with running and passing. If they get one-dimensional, I think our defense will take advantage of that either way. And I think that'll help with Tom Brady also just having a little more of an off year. Gronk is finally healthy. He's going to be a machine. I don't know who we're going to have cover him. I would assume maybe Curse. I would have said Curse because he's like 6'1", 6'2".
He's a big safety.
And he's a big dude.
Yeah, he's a big back for sure.
And he'll have he has more speed than Barr or Kendrick. So I bet you that's who they end up putting on him. God, it just sucks if Rhodes ain't going to make it. That's going to make such a huge difference because that just changes everything. Because Waynes will be on Gordon, which he probably would have been anyways. But I mean, who's going to be on Edelman? It's going to be Alexander. And Edelman will eat all day on Alexander.
Yeah. They've got so many. They've just got so many receivers that are good in New England that it's just like, oh, okay, who we put this guy here, who's going to be on this guy? So
no, I agree. For the Patriots, they need to for a key for them to what needs to happen for them to win is just to get at Cousins because we've seen that's what happens for teams to beat the Vikings. They got to hit Cousins.
Yep.
That's the difference. The games that we do well, Cousins is relatively clean. It's all on the offensive line, unfortunately. Do you have any other keys to the game, Brett?
No, that's about. I mean, if New England can get to Cousins, make him turn the ball over a few times, and put our defense in bad situations like good field possession for New England to go in and score quickly and get a lead on us, and then we have to pass, and then make Cousins drop back more, even because we pass a lot to begin with. But if they make him pass more than we want to, get him uncomfortable, cause those turnovers, it could get ugly for us. But hopefully that does not happen, and we can just play clean and get a win in there.
Yeah, no, it's a big game because obviously right after this we go to Seattle for the Monday night game,
and tough one.
After 3-4 weeks into the season, I made a comment. I was like, oh, that Seattle game doesn't look as tough as it did at the beginning of the season. But since then, now all of a sudden it looks tough again.
They won like every game. I mean, they were on a winning streak out of 4 or 5. I can't remember what it was, but they just went into Carolina and beat Carolina. That's Carolina's first home loss of the year. And
they've been falling off now because I think that's their third straight loss.
Okay.
Now,
I think it's their third loss, but it's their first at home.
Yeah, I'm looking up here quickly. Let's see, Panthers. Yeah, that's their third straight loss.
Okay.
And let's see.
Well, Seattle's
Seahawks have won 2 straight, but
But they've got some of their.
But they're
they've got
6
some
and
of their,
5.
Well, and they've got some of their receiving core back now, right? With Baldwin and
Baldwin's a little
Lockett.
more healthy. Yep.
So I mean,
that helps.
And that Carson has been running pretty well for him. So I mean, you never know. I mean, and Russell Wilson, yeah.
They got Russell Wilson.
You just
He
never
makes
know
plays.
with that guy. He does.
Yep.
Yeah, we are going to see what this team is made out of the next 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Acid test.
If we can just go 1-1, I'll take 1-1 in those games.
I will. Yeah.
Just if they go 0-2, 6-6, and 1, that's going to be tough to get into. I mean, they still could, but go 1-1, put yourself in good
Especially
situation.
the Seattle one, because they're going to be one we're going to be fighting for wild card.
Yep, the wild card spot.
So yeah, if we win one of the games, let it be the Seattle game.
Right.
Let it be the Seattle game.
Yeah, because New England's in the AFC. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, tiebreakers wise, that's
Right.
a little less important.
Well, and this is when you go back and you look at that first game with Green Bay with the tie. I mean, if that we could have got we should have had the win, and then if we didn't choke against Buffalo, I mean, we'd have that 2-game swing where we could have a little bit of a skid if we had to.
Yep.
But
we had the skid.
like
earlier.
you said, this is one of those things. We're going to find out what we're made of.
Yep. No, I agree. So let's final score predictions. Jeremy, you go ahead first.
I'm going to be the blind optimist.
Hey, we need at least one.
Because I'm always that guy. It was against the Rams too. I'm going to go 31-28 Vikings.
All right.
I hope you're right, but I'm going to go 24-17 Patriots. I just think they always find a way to win in Foxborough. That's just what they've been doing for years.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I'm going to go, 27-24 Patriots. I think it's going to be a little more high scoring, but I once again, I want to be wrong, but I'm also a realist, and I can realize that it's the Patriots and it's at home.
Right.
So I'm not an idiot.
What are you trying to say, Beau?
Hint.
Trying to be optimist.
Well, that's different. You're not an idiot. You're just an optimist.
Exactly.
Perfect.
So let's go in on here to Brett's Mount Rushmore. Who have you put on your Mount Rushmore of Vikings players? Brett, if you want to go into a little bit more talk of each one, go ahead. But give me them.
This was tough, but one right away that jumped to my mind was Randy Moss. Got to have Randy Moss in there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he didn't play his whole career with the Vikings, but he is the best receiver to ever play. I mean, watching him play, there's no one else like him in the whole league. Not just the Vikings, but the whole league. No one's seen anybody like him.
Yep.
So that was the easy one for me. And then John Randall, the fun guy to listen to, mic'd up. I mean, and he led the league in sacks as a D tackle.
Yep.
I mean, he was like first team All Pro. I don't know how many years in a row. I mean, the funnest guy to watch, I think. I mean, just unbelievable player.
Hold on a second. There's when you check it out when you guys leave here, and for people listening, Sunday Night Football put out like this 2-minute commercial. It's
Favre.
Yeah,
I've seen that.
It's basically a commercial for a car, but it's John Randall driving and Favre riding shotgun.
Yep.
Talking
God,
about.
I can't wait to see this.
Yeah, you see it.
It's great.
Yeah, talking about their relationship and just what they thought about each other and everything else. And yeah, it was. I would watch them do that for a half an hour.
Oh yeah, that was fun to watch. I mean, it was only 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I wish it was longer, but yeah, that was fun to watch.
Yeah, it was great. So yeah, if you're listening, check that out. But sorry, go ahead. I just wanted to mention that.
And I'm gonna have this has got tough after those two, but I'm gonna have to go with Alan Page a little bit before our time, but like the best defenses we've ever had, and he was the MVP of the league during that time.
Yep.
I mean, you haven't really seen that since then. Our defense has been good under Zimmer, but back then it was kind of legendarily good.
I did see that if we finish in the top 5 this year, it'll be the first time we finish in the top 5 3 years in a row since like 69 to 71.
Okay.
So it just shows where we're at
Under
compared to
Zimmer.
them. Yep. So yeah, no, Alan Page, great answer.
And then this one was incredibly tough. I wanted to go Adrian Peterson so bad, but I don't know. But I'm going to have to go with Bud Grant because he brought us to 4 Super Bowls. I mean, no one else has done that. And, I mean, one of the best coaches we've ever had. But Zimmer, I still think Zimmer's going to get it done. Before he's done with us, he's going to win a Super Bowl. I just think it's going to happen. But I'd have to go with Bud Grant. and probably will change if Zimmer gets a Super Bowl. Then obviously Zimmer's gone there right away. So.
But otherwise, Adrian Peterson would have been your fourth player if you would have done. Yeah, no, that's like you said, can't complain about that 4. Great 4. I still haven't figured out what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna almost have to go back through and re-listen to everybody's because I was meaning to write down everybody's answer, and I want to do something at the end of the year where we do some kind of a poll on Facebook, and I'll do like the top 8 vote getters that everybody picked throughout the season and have everybody vote for the final 4 of that. And maybe that's a way I'll give away one of the Brendan Zylstra autograph things too for that. I'll pick somebody who votes for that. So for you listeners, look for that to vote on who you think should be on that. So that'll be after the season, but great Mount Rushmore. I think let's hope for the Vikes win this weekend. Let's cheer them on. Let's get a 3:25 start. We must be the game of the week or whatever on Fox, so I'm sure I'm thinking so. Yeah, I'm sure we'll have Aikman and
Buck.
Yeah, Buck. But there's a different 4-letter word when I think of that doesn't start with a B. It starts with a different letter. But because that's what he is, dumb, whatever. So let's watch that. Let's cheer them on. Let's hope they get it on. Thank you, Jeremy, for visiting. Thank you, Brett, for coming in for your first time. I will have you back as soon as I possibly can.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. And Skull Vikings, and get me those Go for Words at K95.3sportshow@gmail.com for your chance to win those tickets. See you guys next week.